All right, YouTube, Occult Literature video 32 on the Petit Albert, the Little Albert of French cycle fame. One of the best grimoires, one of the longer ones as well. Many occult texts, they're under 50 pages. This is over, I believe, around 140, if I remember correctly. So considerably longer than many works. I translated this myself. I know just enough French so that with a French-English dictionary I could go through. It took me quite some time, but I think the end result was really worth it. There are no other good editions of the Little Albert in English anywhere online. You're not going to find them. You can find French editions for free. You can find other English editions on Amazon. They cost several times more, and they're filled with a bunch of filler that really makes them useless. It's like the one edition claiming that it's the Grimoire of Marie Laveau. Well, Marie Laveau doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the Little Albert. I want to get a copy of the Grand Albert as well and release that, but it's a little bit more difficult to find. There is a link in the description to where you can purchase my edition off of Amazon, a second to my books blog where many other materials are available, grimoires, alchemical works, things that I've written, things that I've edited, spiritual works on fortune-telling, astrology. It's literally all there, and it's growing week by week. New titles are always coming online. There's some big news about new occult titles in the coming weeks as well that will be forthcoming as well. The Petit Albert is one of the most in-depth grimoires. That is, it's significantly longer than things like the Grand Grimoire, the Grimorium Verum. It's just as diabolical, but part of it is really natural science. Here's where the occult and science as yet described tend to overlap. Now, I look at the modern era. I look at theoretical physics and things of that nature, and I say some of the things that are shown to be true there have been posited by the mystic world already, just not properly described necessarily, but in time man will come to sort of quantify them and accept them in the core of science. That's exactly how the Little Albert works. There are passages there on proper feeding of pigeons to fatten them up, how to fatten up your animals, how to cure certain diseases. It even goes into how to counterfeit currency in an alchemical manner, while being quite forthcoming about the fact that you're not actually creating gold, you're creating fake alloys that look like gold in order to trick people and increase your wealth. This is the true practice of the more materialistic alchemists, and it's on there for the entire world in full display, as opposed to the philosophical side that deals with natural forces creating precious metals through the use of like the sun's rays and the shape of mountains and certain vapors and liquids and so forth, sort of interacting very slowly in nature, or seismic events, volcanism, as opposed to that. The side that is more about, oh, here's how you create gold with these materials. It's counterfeit currency, and it's quite explicit in telling you that that's what it's about. The Little Albert also goes into a great deal of folk material. For instance, how to chase away a rabid dog, how to keep wolves away from your livestock, how to cure this fever in cattle, how to dress this wound properly. It talks about all sorts of different sort of miraculous herbal compounds and substances, mineralogy. It goes the whole 9 yards. It talks about literally everything under the sun. It's got more elaborate rituals, and then it's got the more folkish side. It's probably the most complete occult text that has ever been released by mankind. At least insofar as those that have more of the paranormal side and less of the more mundane side. But this mixes them together, and that's really one of the strengths of the work. And like I said, if you want it in English, if you want it in a language that you can understand, assuming that you don't speak French, this edition is the only one that you're going to find that's any good. If you don't want a bunch of useless filler which omits certain passages, cobbles stuff in from other grimoires or other occult manuscripts, and they don't even tell you where it's from, this is the most complete version. I took a French version of it and translated it fully. Now, am I good enough with French so that I can just start speaking it right now? No. Speaking and understanding it's way harder than reading and writing in a language for some reason to me. I can do that, but it required an enormous amount of time. It did require a French-English dictionary. So in the interest of full disclosure, there may be a few minor mistakes here and there. But to the best of my ability, It is fully translated. It's fully understandable. It wasn't that difficult. Honestly, I'll tell you this. Here's a little secret from somebody who now edits occult works basically for a living. It's more difficult to edit line by line through certain Old English works, even though I speak English, than it is a French work. The French language hasn't changed as much. The English language, you go back prior to the thee and thou period, you have no idea what they're talking about. It requires a hell of a lot more looking up of archaic terms than a French manuscript from the 1700s. It's actually astonishing how much the English language changed in just a few short centuries, from extremely flowery, very strange language to modern English, or roughly pre-modern English around the 1800s at least. But it's definitely it's one of the 2 or 3 best works overall. It's got an elaborate system of everything in it, from everything from astrology and divining the future on through the folk arts, through herbal medicine. It's literally got everything in it. It's something for everybody. It's a little bit of the diabolical, a little bit of the healing, sort of white fluffy arts. It's got everything. It's probably the best single grimoire. Again, link in the description to my edition on Amazon. Second link to my books blog with many other things available. Still in maintenance, but I've got the basic idea about how I'm actually going to add links to all of the different works. I finally figured out how I can do it without junking up the entire page with 50, 60 different links. I didn't want to do that. I have got it figured out. I just have to have the time to do it. That's about all. Peace out.